Hello, everyone. Welcome to our product updates webinar. Give everyone a minute to join, and then we'll get into the content. In the meantime, just wondering if you wanted to hear a construction joke. Hold on, I'm still working on it. Okay, that was a joke. I do have a better one. Let's see. I told my carpenter I didn't want carpeted steps, so he gave me a blank stare. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I can do this all day. All right, one more, and then I think we can get into it. What kind of bird tends to work on a construction site? Crane, obviously. Good. Well, I certainly entertained myself with a couple of those jokes. Hope that everyone else enjoyed them too. But I wanted to welcome you all to the most anticipated event of the year. That is the mid-year product update webinar. I'm thrilled to be your host today as we embark on a journey through the cutting-edge advancements that will revolutionize the way you manage your construction projects. My name is Andrew White, and I'm a Senior Product Operations Manager at FieldWire. That means I help manage the tools and processes that empower our product and engineering teams. Previously, I managed our customer support team. I'll be your host today. Now, as we know, the construction software landscape is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and so is FieldWire. So in the next hour, we'll unveil game-changing features and enhancements that redefine efficiency, collaboration, and success in the field. But before we dive into the exciting details, let me take a moment to express my gratitude. Your support and valuable feedback have been the driving force behind our pursuit of excellence. And today, we're not just presenting updates, we're celebrating a shared commitment to transforming the construction industry. So whether you're a seasoned construction professional, a project manager, or a tech enthusiast, this webinar is designed with you in mind. We've listened to your needs, observed industry trends, and poured our passion into crafting solutions that will elevate your FieldWire experience to unprecedented heights. So get ready to witness features that will make your projects smarter, your teams more connected, and your results much more impressive. I also want to say, please feel free to ask any questions throughout the webinar on the content that's presented. And I think before we get into it, I'd like to ask two questions. First, what type of company do you work for, and what is your role at your company? So we'll give everyone a moment just to complete the questions. Thanks for filling this out. Do appreciate it. Great, thank you very much. And one more question here. If you'll just take a quick moment to fill it out, very much appreciate it. This is just to help ensure that we can create content that is relevant for you. Great. So thank you all for filling out those questions. We do appreciate it. Getting into our agenda today, we're going to highlight some major releases from 2024, the release of our QR code generator and scanner, our journey to connecting the wider construction ecosystem through integrations, and we're also planning to tease some exciting updates we have in store for the RFI and submittals module. Again, please pose any questions you have directly. We'll have time towards the end of the webinar to run through these questions and get yours answered. So let's dive in. First, we'll get into QR codes presented by our Senior Product Manager, Lou Reed. Lou, feel free to go ahead and take it away.
Hey Lou, I think you need to turn on your mic. Thank you. Sorry about that. Like I said, super excited to meet everyone. But before we dive right into QR codes, my name is Lou Reed, and I'm a senior product manager here at FieldWire, focusing on mobile. So I work with our iOS and Android engineering teams to make sure we're delivering on the right features for everyone. I've been at FieldWire for a little over a year now, but I've been in mobile product management specifically for the last 6. And prior to that, I was a software engineer building iOS and Android applications in the finance space. Getting right into this feature, we are now able to generate a QR code PDF for a specific task or plan from FieldWire on web. These QR code PDFs can be printed and posted up on the job site, providing your crew with immediate access to what FieldWire asset they need to reference from where they're standing. On mobile, folks can use their device camera or the FieldWire QR code scanner to scan the QR code and quickly open the relevant task or plan. QR codes can be leveraged to provide quick access to punch lists for the relevant location, or even to ensure that your crew is viewing the right plan for where they're standing. QR codes were released in April and are available to all users regardless of subscription tier. So whether you have a basic account or a Business Plus account, QR codes can be leveraged for quick access to FieldWire assets on the job site. So diving right into a demo, say I'm a project manager and I want to make sure that my subcontractors are viewing the right plan for the area of the job site. I can create a QR code for the specific plan I want folks to be viewing by selecting that plan, selecting the action menu, and then exporting the QR code PDF. That export is available immediately and includes your project name as well as your company's logo, and then some relevant information about the plan as well. So should someone have a broken camera and isn't able to scan, they would still be able to know exactly what they were looking for and be able to search for it within the FieldWire application. From mobile, I'd be able to use my device camera or the FieldWire scanner to scan that QR code and be directed right to the plan that I should be looking at. Then additionally, for tasks, I would be able to create a QR code for a specific punch list or item that I need folks to be reviewing. So say I want to make sure that folks have access to the Safety Walk punch list, I would be able to go in, select share, and then export that QR code for folks to be able to reference for their Safety Walk. On mobile, if I was about to do my Safety Walk, I would be able to use the FieldWire scanner or the device camera. It's located in the search bar under the plans, tasks, or project list modules. I would be able to select that icon, open the QR code scanner, and it would direct me to my punch list, so I'd have immediate access to it and know exactly what I'm looking for. In addition, on mobile, say I am a PM and I'm talking to a subcontractor about a water leak, and I want to make sure that they have access to the task that I'm referencing. I'd be able to open that task, select the share sheet, and then QR code, and show this quick QR code to them to scan directly from my device so they would be able to reference it. Or if I wanted to download it and print it directly from my mobile device, I would also be able to do that by selecting download as PDF. Okay, that is it for the demo, but not it for QR codes. Up next, we will be adding the ability to bulk generate QR codes from web so that you can export up to 600 QR codes for plans or tasks at one time. The bulk export format will be optimized for common sticker paper to make it even easier to post up those QR codes wherever they're needed. For example, on closeout during a project, I could export task QR codes for various items that would require ongoing maintenance, like an AC unit or a water unit. And then I could stick those stickers directly on those units. So when a maintenance person comes in, they'll be able to scan the QR code to open up the maintenance history and add their own maintenance notes. Bulk QR codes is coming soon in Q3, so be on the lookout for those updates. And while I hand it off to Julian to talk about integrations, you should see a quick poll on QR codes, so if you could fill that out, that would be much appreciated. Awesome, appreciate everyone filling that out and appreciate the time. I will hand it off to Julian to talk about integrations.
So, hello everyone, let me share my screen. And let's go. Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Julien Bulot. I'm a product manager at Fieldwire. I've been in product development for 5 years now, previously managing a product team of software solution dedicated to see and manage a large 3D model and large plans like the French railway network. I'm an engineer at heart, and I joined Fieldwire for more than a year now to help make the construction industry more efficient through software. With my team, we are working on processing the documents you upload and download in Fieldwire, like the plans and the files. And we are also building the Fieldwire integration, like the SharePoint and the Power BI integration we are going to talk about today. So what are integration? So integration are a new interface to seamlessly integrate Fieldwire with the other app you use at work. And it has been launched in April of this year. And for the moment, you can connect Google Drive and SharePoint with your Fieldwire app. More apps will be added during the year, more on that later. So how does it work? It's quite simple. Account manager can create the connection they want with their external apps. I'm going to show you that in a minute. And project admin can use this connection to streamline their processes and access the information they need in Fieldwire. All integration use an unified interface to make it easy to use and manage, and it's available for business and business plus customers. So as I said, we have started with the SharePoint and the Google Drive integration. For the moment, it's syncing your Google Drive and SharePoint documents to the Fieldwire Files tab. And the use case is very flexible. Typically, it's adding a standard set of documents across all your projects. For example, safety document, installation instruction manual that you want to access in your project. And it's allow you to leverage Fieldwire features for these documents. So you can link them in your plans, you can link them in your tasks, in your forms, and you can access all these documents offline via the Fieldwire mobile app. So enough for the talking. Let's give you a quick demo. So right now, I will zoom a bit so it will be clearer for you. So I'm on the Fieldwire web app, and I want to use, for example, Google Drive. So I head up to the integration tab that just appeared last month. And you can see all the apps that are available right now. So if we pick Google Drive, we can connect our Google Drive account. That's what I'm going to do. So we should give it a name like Fieldwire Google Drive. Next. Then I just need to sign in. And my account is connected now. So all the project admins can use it in their project, as mentioned here. So as a project admin, let's say I want to sync the anchors I need with my project Fieldwire webinar. So right now my files tab is empty and I want to access the document from one of my shared drive. So let's go to the Fieldwire settings tab in my project. Here I can see that I can manage the automation. I can use the Google Drive automation. So I can click on it, select new automation, and select the Google Drive app I just connected. So Google Drive, pull Google Drive folder into Fieldwire files, create a draft, and now I just need to select the folder, the Google Drive folder I want to pick. So if I click on select folder, I can see all my Google Drive folder, and I want to use one of my shared drive, the shared drive called Fieldwire Apps Demo, CSM Team, and operating instruction that contains all the documents necessary to install an Anchor to the ceiling, for example. So let's pick Fieldwire Apps Demo, CSM Team, and operating instruction. Connect. So right now it's connecting and it will pick all the files and documents that are inside my Google Drive. And it will, if I zoom a bit, it will also replicate like the subfolder and the structure I have in operating instruction. So here we can see that in OnCore, we have like the adhesive anchors, we have the installation tools and dispensers, the mechanical anchors, and all have the associated PDF. So if I go back in Fieldwire, it's still syncing. And if I go back to files, I can see that the first documents have started to appear. I know that it's coming from Google Drive with the logo. And so for the anchors, the first files are coming in and they are progressively added as you just saw. So for the adhesive anchor, I can now access the operating instruction to properly install it. And that's just one of the use cases. There are many ways our customers use the Files tab, but now you know how to use the integration. You are not limited on the number of automation you create. If I want, I can add another app, another automation. So I can pick another folder if I want. I can use both Google Drive and SharePoint at the same time if that's needed for you. There is no limit on that. If I go back to the webinar now, if you have any question, please ask them in the chat. And I will continue on the future of integration. So looking ahead. After that, we will have a Power BI integration coming in a few weeks. So this integration will allow you to track the progress of multiple projects in a single Power BI dashboard, as you can see on the right of the screen. It allows you to follow tasks and form completion per project or per employee. The Power BI interface is customizable, so you can also make the dashboard the way you want if you don't want to use our template. And this feature is available for business customers with the API enabled, with an access to the API, as this is a prerequisite using Power BI. So you get an access to the Power BI connector, the Fieldwire Power BI connector and the template we provide. And then you simply click on get data and select the data you wish to see in Power BI. So in the two screens, you can see on the right, there is the project overview, giving you a list of all the tasks, their category, their links, their delay. And on the bottom right, you can see the people overview with a recap day by day on who is working on what, to make sure, for example, that nobody is working, at least not too many people are working on two job sites at once. So that's all for the features coming in regarding integration, but more are coming. We are just 2 months now since the launch, and we are still building new integration. So your feedback is key. As always, we build the feature you request. So please share the feature you would like to see with us. And we are going to send you a link in the chat for a survey to learn more about the integration that you would like to see. And that's all for me. And now I'm giving the screen to Steven. And if you have any question, please ask them in the chat.
Okay, thanks, Julien. Just give me a minute here to share my screen. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Stephen Thomas. I'm a product manager here at Fieldwire, working on our specifications, RFIs, and submittals tools. A little bit of background about me. Before joining Fieldwire, I worked for a large Canadian general contractor called Bird Construction. I actually spent a fair bit of my time there working on RFIs and submittals and kind of managing that process from the GC side. So kind of cool for me now to get a chance to work on our RFIs and submittals tools here at Fieldwire. Been at Fieldwire for coming up on 3 years now. Spent a little while as a customer success manager, working with customers to do trainings, kind of figure out how to optimize Fieldwire for their needs, and generally get value out of the software before moving on to our product team. So diving on into it, today I'm going to be talking about a feature that our team's been working pretty hard on for the last few months, and that's multiple reviewers on RFIs and submittals. So what are multiple reviewers? Basically, the idea here is that this is a feature that's going to let multiple different people contribute to an RFI answer or a submittal approval. Right now on Fieldwire, when you send out an RFI to get answered or a submittal for approval, you can only select a single person as the assignee, and only one person is really able to respond to it within the Fieldwire platform. With multiple reviewers, we're adding a new field or option to that RFI answer, submittal approval process, and that's what we call reviewers. And these are users you can select to optionally add a response onto that RFI or submittal. So their users are going to be able to respond to that RFI or submittal just like the assignee would. The only difference between the assignee and reviewers is that a reviewer's response is optional. They don't have to respond in order to transition the RFI and submittal and return it back to the person that sent it. They can optionally add responses, but still with the assignee to really, kind of take responsibility for returning that response. So since this is related to RFIs and submittals, this is a feature for our Business Plus subscription tier. And now a little bit on why we're doing this. As I'm sure a lot of you on this call know or have dealt with yourselves, RFIs and submittals often involve multiple different disciplines. They touch different scopes of work. And to really adequately respond to them, you need involvement from different parties and people to contribute to the response. Kind of classic example there might be a submittal that affects different disciplines like plumbing fixtures. You might want your architect as well as your mechanical engineer to be reviewing that submittal because they both have a stake in it. That's just kind of one example there. There's lots of different cases where you might want multiple people contributing, depending on your project, how your company's structured, and so on. So the idea with this feature is that it lets you do that within Fieldwire. It lets you do that collaboration between different parties to arrive at a response, and it lets you track the responses from those different people, keep them all in one place in Fieldwire where it's easily accessible and you can always get back to it and find it later. So in terms of timelines here, we're looking at, these are kind of getting to the end of the development cycle. We're just in testing right now. So looking at probably sometime in July, if things go really well, potentially even end of June. But those are tentative dates. They're pretty complex features, so it all just depends on how the final testing goes, and we'll put these out as soon as they're ready. RFIs is a little bit ahead of submittals, so there's going to be a bit of a staggered release there. You'll see that go out first. And diving on into it here, I'm actually going to do a quick demo of what it's looking like on RFIs. So I'm showing RFIs here because it's just a little bit further along in development, but it's going to look very similar on submittals. A little bit of a disclaimer before we get into this. This is a live demo, and what you're seeing here is a bit of a sneak peek. Like I was saying earlier, we're still in the final stages of testing, so might be a couple bugs. We may tweak things a little bit between now and the release, but this should more or less be what the feature looks like. So diving on into it, I'm Stephen Thomas here, and let's say I work for the general contractor. Maybe I'm a PM, project engineer, superintendent, and I've written up this RFI because looking at the architectural and structural drawings, I noticed a bit of a clash between some cross bracing and one of the exterior doors. So I did a little crop plan with a markup just to illustrate this and make sure it's clear. And I put in a suggestion here. Looks like there's not a lot of room to shift that door. It's a pretty tight little entryway we got. So I'm suggesting we try to rework the bracing. I think that should be possible. So I'm going to hit submit question. And you'll see this pop-up here looks pretty similar to what we have today, except there's this new field called reviewers. So I'm going to select the assignee and I'm going to enter the name of our kind of principal architect we're dealing with on the project. They're the lead consultant on this job, let's say, and they're ultimately responsible for responding to RFIs and coordinating between the consultants to get it answered. But since this has to do with the bracing, I'm also going to add our structural engineer as a reviewer, just because I know that they're going to have some input here, and I think it makes sense to put them on. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit, and we can look over and see from the engineer's view. So you can see here, as I'm logged in as Jim right here, I'm the structural engineer on the project, and I just got this email notifying me that I've been added as a reviewer. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link here after reading the RFI to open it up and provide my response. So we can see here, this is what it looks like from Jim's view, right? We see the question down here, so I can easily reference that. And up here we have the assignee, that's Randy, the architect. So they're kind of shown in this like kind of principal place, right? They're the main person that needs to respond. They're the assignee. And here I can optionally add my response. So I took a look at this. I think that looks good. It looks like we can update the bracing. I'm going to go ahead and add my response here. And I'm going to upload some updated drawings, just reflecting that change on the structural set. That looks good. I'm going to hit add response, and we see I've responded here. Now flipping over, I'm logged in here as Randy, our architect, and I'm going to go and see under my RFIs. I've got this one assigned to me. I can go through, take a look at it. Here's the question. Looks like Jim was able to update the bracing. That's great. I don't think I need to move the door or anything. Perfect. Just a note here, you'll see under additional responses, I have the option to add reviewers. So reviewers or the assignee can also go ahead and add more reviewers once it's in the open status. So that means if you're a GC, like submitting the RFI originally, and you don't know which reviewers you need to add or might need to contribute to it, or you just want to leave that up to the architect and that's their responsibility, I could have just assigned it to Randy. And then Randy, as the architect later on, could go and add whatever reviewers they need. Let's say there was going to be a clash with the ductwork. I could add the mechanical engineer. I could add anybody I want here as a reviewer to also respond. So it doesn't just have to happen when you first submit the RFI. It can happen once it's already open by whoever is the current assignee or reviewer as well. So for example, here I'm going to add in Sam and Mike, just to show what that looks like. You'll see that here, they've now been added as reviewers as well. So back to answering the RFI here. This looks good to me. I'm going to add my response, no updates to the architectural drawings, so I can go ahead and send that. So I have two options here. One is add response and the other is add and submit answer. If I want to just add my response so it's logged, I can do that here without changing the status. So this means I've sent in my response, but what this does is it still gives a chance for any reviewers that haven't responded yet, like Mike and Sam here, to go ahead and add their response before we turn it back to the person that asked it, back to the GC. Kind of a use case for this, if I want to provide some instructions to them or kind of give my input and leave that to them to answer, I could do that here. No need to wait for them though. We're going to go ahead and click submit answer, and this is going to send it back to the person that asked it, Stephen Thomas at the GC. And switching back to Stephen's view here, we see is now in pending. I can see the answer from both Randy and Jim, and I can close this one out. So that's kind of a quick demo, just showing kind of the basic flow there of how you can respond to an RFI with multiple reviewers. Again, it's going to look really similar on submittals. Just you'll have multiple reviewers when it's in the pending approval state. Very similar UI and structure there. And that's it for me. Just a quick call out. We do like to kind of keep iterating on the features that we build and continue improving on them. So once we release this in the next little bit, if you do have any feedback on it, or there's something you'd like to see added on or improved, we'd love to hear it. You can always share that feedback via any CSMs or salespeople you're working with at Fieldwire, or send a quick email to support@fieldwire.com. Thanks so much, everyone.
Great. Thank you to all the presenters. And thank you to the audience for filling out our polls. And again, wanted to thank all the presenters. Who knew construction software could be this exciting? I did. Hope that you do too. But yeah, let's keep the conversation moving and open the floor to a couple questions. So I wanted to thank everyone for posing their questions in the chat today. I'm going to go ahead and select a couple, and then we can start to answer them. So our first question had to do with the QR codes. Looks like someone asked in the chat, are you planning to add QR codes for forms? So Lou, do you want to take that one?
Sure. We are looking at adding QR codes to forms later this year, but we don't have a timeline yet to share. And what that will look like is QR codes associated to form templates. So scanning those QR codes would create a new form, like a daily report or whatever it might be. So you'd be able to post up those important reports that you need people to fill out as a reminder to scan and create those forms as needed.
And then we have another question just about QR codes. QR links only to individual tasks or to all tasks on a plan or a subset of tasks selected or totally customizable. So I think maybe a way of thinking about this is, can you select kind of which tasks you want to create the QR codes for?
Yes, so QR codes are specific to a singular task or a singular plan. So a QR code would reference one specific task versus multiple tasks. But if you wanted to be able to see all of the tasks for a plan, having a link for or a QR code for a plan would be helpful to be able to see all of the tasks that are associated with that plan in those locations.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Lou. Quite helpful. If members of the audience have additional questions, feel free to reach out to support@fieldwire.com. We're happy to get those questions answered for you. Next up, looks like we have a couple questions about integrations. Julian, I do have a question for you. Does Google Drive auto update in Fieldwire as files are modified, added, or deleted in the corresponding G Drive automation?
So your short answer, yes. It replicates your Google Drive content inside Fieldwire. So any change you do in Google Drive or SharePoint will be replicated inside your Fieldwire Files tab.
Great, great. Sounds like it could be quite handy then. And then regarding the SharePoint integration, can you have multiple connections to different SharePoint sites?
So no, at the moment you can only sync one SharePoint site, but you can have a multiple library within this site synced with Fieldwire.
Oh, great. That's a nice workaround. Thanks, Julian. I'll let you know if we have any other questions about integrations. But Stephen, we do have a couple questions on RFIs and submittals. Stephen, so on RFIs, how does it work if the RFI is sent to a non-user?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there is the ability to send an RFI to a non-user. You can just enter in the name of an email address, or not the name, sorry, you can enter in an email address and it'll track it within Fieldwire as being assigned to that email address, and that an email will be sent to that email address you entered so that they're informed, they have that RFI. Multiple reviewers doesn't work when you send it to an email address. At least for now, we're only making it available when you've selected the project user option. There is no multiple reviewers if you're assigning to an email address. Good question.
Got it. Yeah, and thank you all to have asked questions so far. I think we have time for one more. Do QR codes need to be reprinted when plans or sheets are updated? It's a good question.
No, they do not. QR codes are assigned to their living plan or task, so any changes to that plan or task that are made would be reflected when the user scans that QR code. They'd still be able to link in and see the most up-to-date information.
Great. That sounds pretty handy. I want to thank everyone again for posing questions in the chat and for attending our webinar today. I think that wraps up the Q&A portion. So thanks again for attending. We're going to be sending out a recording of the webinar, and we're going to ask a short survey on how we did. So please do take a couple of minutes to help make future webinars even better. Thanks again. Take care.